Alright, starter build guide time for the 0.3 patch update league time, yes, except for minus the build guide part because there's not really a guide because it's impossible to make a guide because we don't know what skills we're playing and we don't know the skill gems and we don't know the tree. We don't know anything. But anyway, no, I'm going to cover my starter build plans, cover the things I know that I'm going to be doing, and then kind of some of the options of how it's going to work out. The build is going to be an elemental spell Lich. I played Lich in the last league, but I did it with Chaos Dots, which is like kind of one of the things that was probably intended to be done with Lich. But Lich itself is pretty versatile. Um, a lot of the nodes can just generically work with anything and mostly just work as like defensive stats. So as long as you can just play spells at all, you're pretty good to go. And that's kind of the plan. So to get it started, the main things of the build are going to be these right nodes here on the Lich, 4-pointer. First node gives you some damage bypasses ES, which matters with the second node. Don't have any inherent mana regen, but you regenerate mana equal to 6% of your life. So mana regen by default is 4% of your mana per second. This now makes your mana regen be based on 6% of your life. So you're going from 4% to 6%, but you're also going from your mana to your life as the determining factor. And generally speaking, unless you're stacking mana, it's pretty easy to have a higher amount of health than mana. So this node basically gives you a crazy amount of mana regen. And then comboed once you get the second node, which says your life cannot change while you have energy shield. Now that 10% of damage that bypasses your ES basically doesn't do anything to you because your life can't change, which also becomes 10% damage reduction. And then life can't change also enables some other silly shenanigans. Like you can see my character is just sitting at low life. One thing with elemental spells, we're going to be doing hit damage this time most likely, which would open up the option of going crit and getting pain attunement because again we can just be low life, so that will be pretty cool. Other than that, we have the jewel socket node, just super versatile. Put whatever jewels you want, whatever you find in there, and just get a bunch of stats. And then I probably am also going to be once again using the Eldritch Empowerment node. This one got changed slightly. Pressing spells should eat up a tiny bit more ES than before. But it also should be more usable if you were to grab it early because the new wording suggests that if you ran out of ES, which can happen earlier when you have, not crazy amounts of ES, maybe you're like 2k life and 2k ES, but running out of ES won't prevent you from casting your spells altogether. So it should be nicer in that regard. But yeah, playing those. And then the tree obviously is changing a ton, but like the plan to still get lots of like ES nodes is still going to be the thing. It's still going to be an ES build. So you're probably going to be grabbing a lot of that, getting some recharge stuff here and there, because I think that's just going to be kind of the only option for sustaining it. The rest of the tree damage wise, who knows? Tree's getting changed a ton. But will be a tanky ES based Lich, and hopefully we can find some infusion spells to do some damage. Other kind of known things like the gear could look similar to this character's gear, which is mostly just items with a lot of ES and then covering our resists. Cast speed on some jewelry, plus gem levels to whatever type of gem we're using on like weapon and shield and amulet. Aziri's Disdain helmet for insane defense value. You get like a huge chunk of ES and another big chunk of damage bypass, which is again for this character's mitigation. Super good. As far as what gem to play, I don't know. I'm gonna try a bunch. I'm gonna play Chaos Dot ED Contagion for like Act 1 in the campaign, and then probably sometime pretty shortly after that. Haven't really decided yet. I'm gonna start just pivoting to the elemental stuff and just try it all out and hopefully find something that's like feels good. But want to do something with elemental spells, want to do something with the new infusions mechanic, so and just go through the list of stuff that could be infused that you could potentially build around. So like Spark definitely has a lot of potential. You can infuse Flame Wall, but that'll probably still be more of like a utility thing. Ember Fusillade can be infused. That might be really nice for some clear. Incinerate can be as well. Incinerate might be interesting for some other reasons too, but it has like a new mechanic where you have to spend mana to even be able to use it. So we'll see how that feels, how that goes. Maybe you can just play a build with Snap and just use the new Snap explosions to do your damage. I don't know. Arc can be infused. That one could be good. Well, Fireball has a lot of potential to be quite strong. Firestorm sounds cool, but honestly, I'm not too confident that it'll be very good, but maybe. Comet gets, I forget something. I think it's just like damage and AoE. It could be fine. Ball lightning is a big question mark. It might be really good. It like explodes into fire damage or something when you infuse it. Uh, Sounded interesting. But like basically all of those, I'm gonna either be trying them all out or I'll try a handful out, and then I'll probably, as I'm playing, hear from other people trying other ones out. Find one spell or a set of spells, whatever, something to settle on, and ideally, if we can, I would like to go crit because again, pain attunement will be really good. And if there's any other low life shenanigans that are enabled for us, those will also be really, really good. And otherwise, just try to be a really tanky CI, not CI, sorry, you can't actually go CI on Lich, but it's, you know, big tanky ES low life spellcaster. And do a lot of cool elemental spell stuff. As for why I want to do Lich, I like the ascendancy. I played it last time. It's something I'm familiar with. Defensively, it's very good. Blood Mage, you know, is another really good option. It will like certainly do considerably more damage than a Lich. Hopefully, we can find something with Lich that'll just do enough damage though, and then we can take advantage of our crazy defense. And then like Stormweaver, you know, depending on how the infusions work, you might almost have to go Stormweaver because Stormweaver has some extra infusion generation help. Hopefully, it's not the case that you like need to be a Stormweaver to do it properly, but play it by ear, see how things go. And I mean, honestly, like that's kind of all that I really have for the starter build because again, we don't know enough about the gems themselves, how they're actually going to feel. We know basically nothing about like the support gem changes and what each support gem is going to do, and especially the end game ones. And then the passive tree could change a lot. Like I don't think there's going to be much nerfs to ES on the tree. I could see there being maybe some slight ones, but at this point, they haven't said anything about nerfing ES on the tree. They just like sprung that on us last minute, no warning. That would be kind of messed up. Like, you know. So I'm hoping that the ES nerfs on the tree, if they are there, they didn't do some stuff like nerfing Eternal Youth, but that has no effect on this build in particular. This is an ethical ES build. We're regaining, we're restoring, we're sustaining our ES through ES recharge, which is the way that Jonathan intended. So surely we'll be a-okay in their book, you know. But yeah, one other thing is, can't see it here, but that new Black Flame Covenant Keystone could also come into play. Um, just if like we land on some good fire spells, converting them to chaos would probably just make them better, especially on Lich. Like maybe it even opens up the option of dropping Eldritch Empowerment for Necromantic Conduit. Like if we're spamming way too fast, that the ES sacrifice on this is actually a problem. If we're converted to chaos, getting Unholy Might here would just be like a nice little boost. It does make you lose mana per second, but you, generally speaking, I think a Lich with this node, even though you're losing 5% of your mana per second, you still have like a better base, or you still end up with like a better amount of mana regen than like most builds because yours is just so far ahead to begin with. And you don't need to scale max mana. You can keep your max mana quite low to where 5% of it a second isn't a huge deal. But I mean that's all I got. It should be fun. Like worst case scenario, if nothing worked out and I just really didn't want to make another character, I could just fall back on playing ED Contagion Chaos dot stuff because that will definitely be very solid, just like last league. It looks like it'll be a little bit better even than last league, and I think it was quite good then. So I probably won't do that, but like if you were trying to maybe consider doing a similar thing and you were worried about if the LA spells aren't that big of a deal, um, and maybe you haven't played Chaos Dot yet or you are interested in trying it out, I just don't want to play the same build again. But it's like a very safe, very easy fallback for doing a Lich loadout. But that's kind of all I got. Should be good. I will try to get things updated as quickly as possible once we know. Like maybe when the torrent comes out later tonight and the like data miners get to work, we should be able to get some sort of tree hopefully to see before launch. and maybe some other information will be gathered from that as well. I'm gonna actually try to keep a very close eye on those things, and if there's some last minute discoveries, changes, um, definitely work it into the considerations. But for now, that's the build. I think it should be fun, should be nice and tanky, should be smooth leveling because we just ED Contagion until we know we have a good pivot. Well, actually, I guess I won't know I have a good pivot, but I'll find the good pivot, whatever it may be. But that's the build. That's everything I got. Thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed it. See ya.